When you walk into a museum and see a statue from ancient Greece, you are often looking at a vision of perfection. These figures, carved from brilliant white marble, have been famous for thousands of years. They show men and women with smooth skin, strong muscles, and calm, thoughtful faces. Think of the famous statues like the Venus de Milo or the Spear Bearer. Their bodies seem flawless, without a single imperfection or sign of aging. This has led many people to wonder if the ancient Greeks were a society of incredibly beautiful people who looked exactly like these stunning works of art. It's a captivating thought, but the story behind these statues is a bit more complicated than it first appears. These statues were not meant to be simple portraits of everyday people you might meet on the streets of ancient Athens. Instead, they were created to represent a powerful idea. The artists who carved them were aiming to capture an ideal, a concept of perfect beauty and strength that was deeply important to their culture. They carefully studied human anatomy, not to copy one person, but to combine the best features they could imagine into a single, heroic form. The result was a body that was more than just human. It was a symbol of harmony, balance, and excellence, qualities the Greeks admired above almost all others. The beauty you see in these sculptures was carefully planned. The sculptors used mathematical principles like the golden ratio to create proportions that were pleasing to the eye. Every muscle is defined, every limb is in perfect balance, and every face is serene and noble. This wasn't because every Greek person had a perfectly symmetrical face or a bodybuilder's physique. It was because the statues were designed to communicate something special about the characters they represented, whether they were gods, legendary heroes, or celebrated athletes. Their physical perfection was a visual language that spoke of their inner greatness and their special place in the world. So, when we admire these ancient masterpieces, we are not looking at a snapshot of an average Greek citizen from 2,500 years ago. We are seeing a dream of what a human being could be at their absolute best. These statues were a source of inspiration and a reflection of the values that shaped Greek society. They set a very high standard for beauty, one that was tied to ideas of health, virtue, and even divinity. The question is, how did this ideal influence the lives of real people? And did anyone actually manage to look like these incredible figures carved from stone? The reason so many Greek statues look flawless is because they often depicted beings who were considered greater than ordinary mortals. Many of the most famous sculptures were of gods and goddesses from Mount Olympus. Artists imagined what a god like Apollo, the god of music and light, or a goddess like Aphrodite, the goddess of love, would look like if they took human form. Naturally, they would be the picture of perfection. Their smooth skin, powerful bodies, and ageless youth were meant to show their divine nature. A god wouldn't have wrinkles, scars, or a flabby stomach. Their physical form had to reflect their immense power and eternal life. Besides gods, the statues also celebrated legendary heroes like Heracles or Achilles. These were figures from epic tales who performed incredible feats of strength and courage. To the Greeks, a hero's physical prowess was a clear sign of their exceptional character and divine favor. Therefore, when a sculptor created a statue of a hero, they gave him a body built for action, broad shoulders, strong arms, and rippling muscles. This idealized physique was not just about looking good, it was a symbol of the hero's ability to overcome any challenge, fight monsters, and protect the innocent. Their beauty was a heroic quality, inseparable from their bravery and their famous deeds. The other group of people frequently immortalized in stone were victorious athletes. Winning at major sporting events like the Olympic Games was a huge honor in ancient Greece. An athletic champion was seen as a local hero, someone who had pushed their body to the absolute limit and achieved excellence. To celebrate their victories, cities would often commission statues of these athletes. But even these statues, like the famous Discobolus, were not meant to be exact portraits. The artist wasn't trying to capture the specific face of the winner, but rather the ideal form of a perfect athlete in motion, a generalized concept of athletic beauty and skill. This focus on gods, heroes, and athletes shows that the statues were designed to inspire and to honor extraordinary beings. They represented a concept of kalokagathia, a Greek idea that combined physical beauty and goodness of character. A beautiful body was thought to house a virtuous mind. Therefore, the perfect bodies of the statues were a visual reminder of the highest ideals of Greek culture, the divine perfection of the gods, the legendary strength of the heroes, and the disciplined excellence of the athletes. These weren't everyday people. They were the superstars of the ancient world. One of the most surprising things about ancient Greek culture was their attitude towards nudity. Unlike many societies today, the Greeks did not see the naked human body as something to be ashamed of or hidden away. Instead, they often viewed it with pride, as a reflection of a person's inner virtues and dedication. This was especially true for the male body, which was openly displayed in athletic contexts. A fit, well-trained body was a sign that a man was educated, disciplined, and a good citizen. It was an untrained or asymmetrical body, not a naked one, that might be seen as a sign of a poor education or a lazy character. This comfort with nudity was most apparent in the gymnasium, which was a central part of life in many Greek cities. The word gymnasium actually comes from the Greek word gymnos, which means naked. This was the place where men and boys gathered not only to exercise, but also to socialize and learn. They would train for sports like running, wrestling, and discus throwing completely in the nude. This practice allowed them to move freely, but it also encouraged them to develop bodies that were strong, balanced, and worthy of being seen. Competing without clothes meant there was nothing to hide, and everyone's physical condition was on full display. Training at the gymnasium was a key part of the education for many young Greek men, especially those from wealthier families. In Athens, for example, laws established by the statesman Solon required that parents who could afford it must provide their sons with training in sports, alongside subjects like reading and music. This shows how highly the Greeks valued physical fitness. It was considered just as important as developing the mind. This dedication to physical training meant that a portion of the Greek population, particularly the elite and the athletes, would have had bodies that were far more fit and muscular than the average person's. Because of this lifestyle, it's likely that successful athletes and wealthy citizens who spent years training in the gymnasium came closest to resembling the idealized statues. They had the time, the resources, and the cultural motivation to dedicate themselves to achieving peak physical condition. Their bodies, sculpted by years of exercise, would have been powerful and defined. So, while not everyone looked like a statue, the ideal was actively pursued by many. The gymnasium was the workshop where Greek men strove to transform their own bodies into something that mirrored the perfection they admired in their art and their gods. Although Greek art was filled with perfect bodies, ancient Greek literature tells a much more diverse story. Writers and playwrights often described characters who looked very different from the idealized statues, showing that a wide variety of body types existed in reality. The famous playwright Aristophanes, who wrote comedies, sometimes used overweight characters to make a satirical point. In his plays, a character with a large belly might be used to poke fun at politicians or generals, suggesting they were greedy, self-indulgent, or morally corrupt. This use of different body shapes shows that the audience would have recognized these types of people from their own lives. Other writers, like Lucian, also wrote about people who didn't fit the athletic ideal. In his satirical dialogues, he sometimes depicted wealthy people as being obese and lazy, suggesting that their riches led to a life of overeating and indulgence rather than disciplined training. These literary portraits are valuable because they provide a glimpse into the everyday reality that art often ignored. They remind us that just like today, ancient Greek society was made up of people of all shapes and sizes. Farmers, merchants, craftsmen, and the elderly would not have had the time or opportunity to train like an Olympic athlete, and their bodies would have reflected their different lifestyles. Even in societies that prized fitness, the ideal was not the only thing that mattered. In Athens, physical training was balanced with a deep appreciation for learning, philosophy, and the arts. In Sparta, while the laws demanded intense physical training for all citizens to create strong soldiers, their primary goal was military might, not just aesthetic beauty. The historian Xenophon did observe that the rigorous Spartan lifestyle made them appear healthy and vigorous, perhaps even the most handsome of men. However, their fitness was for a practical purpose. This shows that while a fit body was valued, it was part of a larger set of cultural goals. In conclusion, the beautiful statues of ancient Greece were more of an aspiration than a reflection of reality. They represented a powerful ideal of perfection, combining physical beauty with inner virtue, and were modeled on gods, heroes, and champion athletes. While many Greeks, especially the athletic and wealthy, did pursue this ideal through rigorous training, they were the exception rather than the rule. The average person likely did not look like a marble god. The statues show us what the ancient Greeks admired and strived for, but literature and common sense tell us that the real world was filled with a much more human and varied range of people.